What is your reaction that Russia freed the Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and others?
Well, as usual, it was a win for Putin or any other country that deals with us. But we got somebody back, so I'm never going to be challenging that. It wouldn't have happened with us. We would have gotten him back. We wouldn't have had to pay anything. We wouldn't have had to let some of the great killers of the world go, because that's what's happened, as you know. But we got him back, and we could have had him back. We should have had him back a long time ago. It should have never happened. It would have never happened. He shouldn't have been taken in the first place, and it would have never happened with us.
Okay, so the fact that Russia has released 16 people, including Evan Gershkovich, as I said, Paul Whelan, is objectively good news, but that would thereby be bad news for the GOP. So what if this could be bad news for Biden instead? That's what you're seeing play out in real time there. Trump, who would never challenge this, goes on to challenge it in 10 incredibly dishonest ways. So if it were him, they would have gotten all these people and they wouldn't have had to give anything. I'm not sure exactly how that works out in terms of negotiations, and he's certainly not providing any more information. But what he wouldn't do especially is he wouldn't give up any killers to get hostages. Well, stay tuned for that. We're gonna do a little bit of fact checking.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
But he didn't just do interviews complaining about the fact that Joe Biden delivered on a thing that Trump said on Truth Social would only happen if he became president. Well, oops, Biden got it done. He goes on Truth Social later to say, so when are they gonna release the details of the prisoner swap with Russia? How many people do we get versus them? Are we also paying them cash? Are they giving us cash? No, I don't think Russia is giving us cash. What are you talking about? Are we releasing murderers, killers, or thugs? Just curious, because we never make good deals at anything. Blah, blah, blah. Again, as is always the case, good news for America is bad news for Trump. And I'm not just saying that. He's revealing he considers anything good for America or American citizens to be bad, and he has to ruin it, and not just him. You have Alina Habba going out and saying, well, why weren't they home before? Which is an interesting criticism that you could make literally anytime they come back. Doug Burgum says Russia only did this because Trump is going to win. So again, like with the stock market going up and inflation going down, any good news gets to be Trump's, even though he has no control over it. It's a fascinating scheme they've worked out there. But I want to go back to the main thing of he wouldn't give up anything, and he certainly wouldn't give up killers. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so there have been hostage exchanges previously. In 2019, 3 high-ranking Taliban prisoners who have been imprisoned by the government of Afghanistan were released in exchange for the Taliban freeing 2 professors, so Kevin King, Timothy Weeks, who were abducted back in 2016. Trump and the president of Afghanistan made clear that the Trump administration was involved in the deal. Trump even said, proud of my team. So high-ranking Taliban prisoners given up to get someone. Weird, maybe Trump has forgotten that. He does have brain rot after all. In 2020, the Trump administration secured the release of 2 Americans who were imprisoned by Houthi militants in Yemen. So that's aid worker Sandra Loli, businessman Mikhail Gadada, in exchange for the release of more than 200 militants at this point. I'm sure they were all great people and they would never do anything bad. So that's not a criticism of Trump, obviously. They were allowed to return to Yemen and might well be involved in militias to this day. So just to be clear, he did release people in exchange for prisoners. He did give back Taliban and Houthi militants and killers and thugs and all of that. And we could get into more of the timeline stuff, but Brett, what do you think about their whining here?
I mean, look at the scoreboard. It's 203 militants released to 4 Americans. 203 to 4. That's the scoreboard. Militants 203. Trump 4. If we want to play your game, that's how we'll play it. Well, if it's a game, there should be a scoreboard. You lose. You let go of 200 militants, stone cold killers. The thing about this is how Trump, like, this is Trump's speak. One of the languages he speaks is like average dude in some ways. And like, I can't tell you how many average dudes I talk to who are like, I would have done better. People watching the Olympics right now, like, how dare you fall on that vault? I'd have done better. I mean, back hurts a little bit because I tried to lift this thing yesterday as I'm shoving cheese curds into my face, and I'm
recent memory
criticizing world-class athletes. Like that is a proud tradition among like many American men, is to make that complaint, and he's doing it. But everyone has to see through it. And the other thing is, like, Trump was president. He was president. When he was president, he did these kinds of exchanges. And then when it came to pretty much anything else, he likely didn't even get it done. This master negotiator is so expert at negotiating that he doesn't get anything done. He did one tax cut for rich people. Since he's been out of office, people who aren't him were very close to a deal on moderately comprehensive immigration reform. And Trump was the one who stepped in and was like, no, stop it. And he used his bully pulpit as a dork bag to convince a lot of Republicans not to fix the immigration issue for a lot of the same reasons. So he could run on it and try to win on it, even though he was president for 4 years and got nothing done on it.
Yeah, because again, from his perspective, it would be good news for America, and that is bad news for him, so he had to kill it. And by the way, on the deals that he did, they sound pretty good. I would have wanted to get those people back, but he is now presenting the things he did as traitorous activity, as a betrayal, as weakness, as surrender to give up those things. Isn't it convenient? He loves to run, again, as if he's an outsider with no history in government. These are not hypotheticals when we criticize him. We're criticizing the things he's already done that, again, in defense of him, he might not remember. His mind is decaying very rapidly. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.